If you go into Classroom, you will see that there are, and you open up the assignment, you'll see there's two files. For now, the only one I want you to open is this one called Comparing State Data. And it's going to open up a worksheet that you have not worked with because we just haven't done that with Google. But you don't have to understand how it works so much. Yeah, you'll see in a minute how it works. But so what we have here is a bunch of data about all the different states, all 50 states, and there are 6 categories. We have average spring temperature, which spring is March, April, May, parts of June. Average household income, which is data for each state that shows how much money is made by the people in that house. High school graduation rate. This is a percentage of the people that graduate high school in that state. Life expectancy in years. That means how long you're expected to live. How long does the average person live in that state? Which will tie into their health care and their quality of life. And then we have 2 at the end that are very related. They have to do with population density. Population density means how many people are in a certain area. So it's not just about the number of people in the whole state, it's about comparing the number of people in the state to the amount of land that they have. Density in science would be that talking about like how many molecules are in a space. Air is not dense at all, which is why you can wave your hand through it. But the desk in front of you is incredibly dense, which is why you can't wave your hand in it. So a desk has tons of molecules per inch, and air does not have nearly as many as a desk would. So that's what population density, that's what density means. It's about the higher the density, the more number of people in a certain area. So, some of you prefer to be in a place that is very dense population. In other words, that means that there's lots of people, big city, freeways, restaurants, entertainment all around. But others would prefer to be in the population density that's very rural. You'd rather have lots of land. You want a lot of space in between you and your neighbors. You don't care that you have to drive a bunch of miles to the grocery store because you'd rather have some peace and quiet. So for these, you have to make a decision. Eventually you're going to make a decision here. Do I prefer to be more towards the big city life, which would be high population density, or do I prefer to be in the more rural, open country kind of area, which this category would fit into? Notice that for each of these 6 categories, there's a place for points. And we'll get to the points later, but all of these states are arranged in order from highest to lowest. So the higher they are, the more number of points that they get. The first thing that you're going to do is pick out 4 of these categories. There's 6 to choose from. Now the first one you'll probably want to choose from is decide, do I like a very dense population, which is meaning like lots of cities, or do I want more country? So you pick one of these 2. You cannot pick both because they're exact opposites. You either choose, do I want to have very populated or very rural? You pick one of those categories. Then you'll pick 3 more. Life expectancy, high school graduation rate, average household income, or average spring temperature. So of those other 4, either temperature, household income, which has to do with jobs and money, graduation rate, we're looking at the schools, or life expectancy, you decide which 3 are the most important of out of those. What we're looking at is trying to use data to say, well, which state would be the most desirable to move to live in? And we're going to use this point system based on their data to decide which states are better than others when we're using this data. Now, some of you could probably think of other kinds of information that you would want to know about a state before moving there other than these ones here, but we're not doing that for now. All you're focused on are the ones that I've picked out. There's 6 categories. You're only going to pick 4. Now, notice at the bottom of this worksheet here, there's a tab that says Sheet 2. Click on it. And this is a very nerdy worksheet that I've created, and I've done all the hard math nerdy stuff. So all you have to do is the easy stuff. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say you've picked out your 4 categories. In the first one, you put life expectancy. Watch what happens after I hit enter. Alright, there now all of a sudden life expectancy pops up in category 1 for all of these. Saves you time, right? Category 2, let's say I did graduation rate. And I hit enter, and it pops up for category 2 for all of them. That's the nerdy spreadsheet part I already took care of. You don't have to do that. And this is just done to save you time. In category 3, let's do income. And it puts it in for all of them. And the last one, I prefer city life over rural life. So I'm going to select very populated. And I'll type it in here. And I hit enter, and there we go. Now what I need to do is pick out states. And there's 50 states to choose from. So what you need to do is pick out states. It doesn't really matter which ones you pick. You know, they're your selection here. I do have Ohio already typed into this one, so you're stuck with that. I do want you to compare Ohio. And then you have several other states to choose from. There's enough spots for 12. So let's say that I chose Hawaii as one of my states. I would go into this worksheet in Sheet 2 and type in Hawaii. For life expectancy in Hawaii, notice there's these points right here. This is where the points come in. Hawaii point. Don't worry about the number of life expectancy. Just focus on the points. So there's 30 points. So I go back in here and I put 30. Graduation rate. I have to search for Hawaii here. And they have 10 points for graduation rate. Income, the average household income. Scroll down until I find it. Missed it. Well, they are 25 points. And then for population density, I prefer the very populated. They are a 20. Notice the other thing that pops up here is you don't even have to do the math. The totals are already, they come up automatically. So as you type in the numbers and the points, the math is already done for you. You don't have to do that. I put in a formula that adds it all up for you. I don't want you to spend a lot of time doing stuff that doesn't really matter for social studies. I mean, to spend the time retyping life expectancy 12 times would be a waste of time. And even the math adding, I'm just taking care of that for you, so it's one less thing to worry about. So in the end, you're going to have 12 states and points totaled. And that's not all 50, so you don't have, it would take us a lot longer to do all 50. I'm not going to ask you to do that. But but for now, we'll just focus on the 12 that you select. One of them will be Ohio. You'll fill in all your points, and from there, if you go back into Classroom, you can open up the other file that's called State Data Questions. And there are 5 questions that are, this is for the follow-up. You'll say, what were the 4 categories you chose? Why did you choose them? In other words, you're going to leave out 1 or 2 of them. Why did you leave those out? Why did you choose the ones you chose? Put the states in order from most points to least points. Number 4, besides the categories listed, what other factor or category would you want to have information on? So I gave you 6 categories. Well, if you could pick out another one that's important to you, like number of pizza shops per state, then you put that on there. Think of something that you would really find important. And then the last one's just kind of general. What did you learn through this process?